So we will do the lesson food preservation. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay. Please turn on your videos. Now, principles we did yesterday, principles of preserving food we did yesterday. Then we just methods of preserving at home. We do a bit of a more detail today. Okay. Low temperature. That is lowering the temperature of food. We have already learned that food stays longer at low temperature, that is, in a cold environment. Temperature to preserve food works on the principle that low temperature slows down microbial and enzyme action. Okay, means the action microorganisms and the enzymes is slowed down when the food is stored in cold in a low temperature. Okay. Now, do you use this method of preservation at home? Yes, we have a refrigerator. We can use it because a refrigerator helps to keep the food at low temperature. Foods can be preserved at low temperature. Why? Now, how to store this food at a low temperature? We have refrigeration, means that keeping the food between 40 degrees Celsius and 70 degrees Celsius. Then we have cold storage, that is keeping the food between 10 degree to 40 degrees Celsius. Then we have keeping food between 180 degrees Celsius or below, that is known. Three levels of cooling down of food are mentioned. Okay, some foods need less cold temperature, some foods need a very cold temperature, freezing temperature. So we some foods that just require a less temperature, we store them in normal fridge, a refrigerator. Some foods that actually require a freezing temperature, those we store in the freezer. Right. So this is about that. Then the duration can be preserved by using low temperature, the type of food, and with the temperature that we are giving it. The lower the temperature, the longer is the duration for which food can be preserved. One of the three methods, freezing, uses the lowest temperatures. Since both cold storage and freezing are not used very commonly at home as a method of preservation, we will not this and discuss their details in the section. You have already learned about refrigeration in the previous section. Now, this is freezing of peas. Do you know peas? Green ball-like thing, small, that comes in a pod. Do you know peas? Yeah. It looks like this. It has a covering. When you open the covering, it has round-shaped ball-like things inside. Those are known as peas. Okay. These are known as peas. Okay. Rings a bell, maybe? Understood? Okay. Now, we freeze peas. Okay. We can take out these balls, green ball-like things, peas, and we can freeze them, refrigerate them, so that they can be used for a long period of time. Okay, like usually households, what they do is they peel off, they take out a lot of these peas, store them in a container, and put them in the fridge. Then everything, also there is a thing, this is a thing in Indian households that in the season of peas, in every vegetable that we are making, we put peas. Okay? Does it happen in your households too? Not so much. Here it happens a lot. Not so
Yeah, I don't think I've
Okay.
never done
Here
it.
it happens. Never done that. Okay. Here it happens a lot. Every vegetable that is made, be it any pulse, dal, okay, rice, okay, veg pulao, okay, be it any vegetable, potato or anything, cauliflower, anything.
Yeah.
Peas are just put in. Okay, so they are stored, refrigerated. Okay, how to refrigerate these peas? How to do that? So select about half a kilogram of fresh tender peas and shell them. Shelling means take out this covering. Take out this covering means shelling them. Okay, taking out the covering. Take enough water in a stainless steel pan in which the peas can be completely immersed. Okay, add 1 tablespoon of salt for half a liter of water, dissolve and bring the solution to boil. So we take water, okay, half liter or 1 liter water according to the quantity of peas. We dissolve salt in it, put salt and dissolve it, and then boil it. Boil this solution. Then completely immerse the peas in the boiling solution for about 2 minutes. It is completely immersed for about 2 minutes. Then drain the peas immediately onto a stainless steel sieve and let them cool for 10 to 15 minutes. Pack the peas in polythene bags, remove the air by pressing and seal the bag. Put the packets of peas into a freezer. Okay. Also, we get these frozen peas in the market also in the supermarket, departmental store, whatever there is in your area. We get the frozen peas packet also. Okay, and this is how they make it, like boiling in salt water, then cooling, straining the water, cooling them down, and packing them in an airtight packaging, and then putting them in the freezer. Okay, this is how they are being stored peas. Also, we use frozen vegetables. How do we do this? Take out the frozen packet from the freezer 1 or 2 hours before use and let the food thaw at room temperature, means let it come to a normal temperature. Let it come to a normal temperature. Put peas in a sieve and keep tap water for a few minutes. Drain them and use them. Frozen vegetables can be stored up to 6 months in a freezer. So we can store the frozen vegetables up to 6 months in the freezer. Now, what are the precautions that we should take while freezing fruits and vegetables? Packaging material, that is polythene bag, should be strong enough to withstand expansion of food material on freezing. There is also some expansion of this food material that takes place when they are being frozen. So the polythene bag should be strong enough to withstand it. Okay, withstand the low temperature, withstand the expansion of food material. Then the food once brought out of the freezer and brought to room temperature should not be refrozen. Okay, should not be refrozen. Then small packets should be prepared as food once thawed must be consumed. Okay, once it has been brought to a room temperature should be consumed. Okay, so small packets only should be prepared. Okay, then so there is less chance of remaining food material being spoiled. This also helps to avoid refreezing of the unutilized food material. When we make small packets of the frozen vegetables, then it also helps us to avoid refreezing of the remaining portion. Then exclude the air carefully and completely from the packet before sealing. When we seal it after like boiling, when we seal it, we should exclude the air carefully. Means we should carefully take all the air out and then seal it airtight. Okay. Then the freezer should not be opened too frequently. That is basic. Okay. So what is thawing? It is the process of removal of ice from frozen food. From frozen food. When we take the food, okay, when we take some frozen food, we leave it some time and open in the room temperature. Then we put it in the water, okay, to remove all the ice from it. So that process is known as thawing. Okay. Then high temperature. Understood? Any doubt in freezing, refrigeration, food? Any doubt? Okay, Megan. Okay. So let's move on to high temperature. Microorganisms and enzymes are destroyed at high temperature. Thus, food is safe and does not spoil. Do all organisms get killed by increasing temperature? No. There are some microorganisms which do not get destroyed at a high temperature. If these organisms are not killed, they can spoil food items once the temperature is decreased. So there are two methods of preserving food by using high temperature. Now these two methods are known as pasteurization and sterilization. Okay, let's look in a little bit detail what.
Can't hear you.
Are you all able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, pasteurization. When you think of pasteurization, which food items comes to your mind? Which food item comes to your mind first? Milk. We usually talk about milk being pasteurized a lot, right? So we in this method, the food is heated to a high temperature and then quickly cooled. So the microorganisms present in it are not able to withstand the sudden change of temperature. It's heated at a high temperature and then suddenly cool down. Okay, so microorganisms will not be able to withstand this hot cold temperature and they are killed. However, some organisms still survive in this method. So these milk packets that we buy from the store, okay, from the dairy, they are already pasteurized. Like before packing this milk into the packets and the paper containers and all, okay, before packing them in this, they are heated up. The milk is heated up, then it is cooled down, then it is packed and then sealed. Okay, then but some organisms still survive in this method. Then comes the method of sterilization. What happens in the method of sterilization? It is done to prevent any spoilage of food items due to microorganism. It means free from any living organisms. The high temperature used in this method destroys all the microorganisms in the food. Okay, the food items in sterilization, the food items are exposed to high temperature for longer period, and in some cases under pressure also. Example, when a pressure cooker is used for cooking, the food will last longer. Why? Because most microorganisms will get destroyed under the pressure. Okay, under the pressure, the most microorganisms will get destroyed. Okay, you can also sterilize bottles and other equipments used for preservation. Okay, you heat it up at a very high temperature for a longer duration, or you cook the food in pressure utensil that use a pressure, like a pressure cooker. So that comes under sterilization. Understood what is pasteurization and sterilization? Any doubt?
No, ma'am. No, I think I got it. Yeah.
Okay, Megan, got it. Okay, then another thing is the use of preservatives. Okay, this comes all of the three are okay. In high temperature comes pasteurization and sterilization. Then another method that is used to preserve food is known as, the use of involves the use of preservatives. Now, the chemicals which can be used to increase the shelf life of processed food products are called preservatives. Okay, increasing shelf life. means increasing the time period in which that to make it last longer. Okay, increase in the time period of food so that it can last for a longer period of time. Okay, suppose I have a food product. That whose shelf life is 6 months. That is, it will expire after 6 months. But I add some preservatives in it. I add some preservatives. Now the shelf life becomes 9 months or 10 months, 9 to 10 months. Okay, after adding the preservatives. How? Why? See, this is increase in shelf life. This is increase in the shelf life because the preservatives helps in the preservation of food. Now, any substance that is added in the food to make it last for a longer period is known as a preservative. You have learned that, oops, you have learned increasing the concentration of salt, sugar, or acid in a food prevents its spoiling. Therefore, salt, sugar, or acids are substances which act as preservatives. You know that a lot of food are preserved with salt, with sugar, with acids, right? Why? When we increase the content of these substances, salt, sugar, acids in the food, it makes them last longer. Why? Because all of these are preservatives. Okay, all of these are substances which will increase the life of the food. Like in pickle, when we make a pickle, we add salt to it and then we keep it for some months. Right? Why? So that it does not get spoiled. Similarly, when we are making jellies and jams, we add sugar to it and then we leave it for some months. Why? Preservative. Okay. Now, there are some types of preservatives. Okay. There's some preservatives found in pickles. Some of them are salt, sugar, lemon juice, vinegar, oil, and spices. Okay, lemon juice is also a preservative. Okay, vinegar is also a preservative. Read the label of jams, squash, ketchup, chips. Write the preservatives mentioned on the label. Enter the information in the table below. You can do this activity if you have pickle at home. Okay, ready-made pickle. If you have jam at home, if you have sauce at home, then you can turn the packet or bottle and then read on it that what preservatives are present. What preservatives are present on it. Okay. Shall I show you one example? Let me check if I can find it. Okay. Um, Not really able to find it right now, but I will locate it and then I'll show you tomorrow. Okay. You all can check out at home if you're able to find it, and I'll check from my side. Okay, and then I'll show you all tomorrow.
We can't hear you, ma'am.
Now, can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some chemicals, when you will check the label on the bottles or packets of these things, then you will find some chemicals such as potassium metabisulfate, citric acid, and sodium benzoate. They are chemical preservatives. Okay. Usually, most of the store-bought items are preserved using chemical preservatives. They will not get preserved by salt. Okay, because in home we preserve with salt, sugar, and lemon juice, vinegar. In home we preserve using that because we don't use these chemicals. We don't use we don't preserve at home using potassium metabisulfate, right? But the products that we are buying from the store, you will find that they are preserved using these preservatives. Okay, chemical preservatives. Now, these were chemical preservatives. There comes the natural preservatives that we use at home. One of it is salt. When we make pickle at home, salt is one of the ingredients used. Salt is not only added for taste, but it also has a specific function that is to act as a preservative. The proportion of salt in pickles is less, it can get spoiled after some time. Now, how does salt act as a preservative? Question can come on this. How does salt act as a preservative? Increasing the quantity of salt in food changes its composition. Due to the presence of salt in the food, osmosis takes place. As a result, water comes out of the food. When there is no or less water in the food, the microorganisms are not able to grow and the food becomes safe. Salt also reduces the activity of enzymes, thus preventing the food from getting spoiled. Salt is used as a preservative in pickle, chutney, sauce, and canned food. It is rubbed on fish, which helps to preserve it. Have you seen like when we before we keep before we preserve fish, before we put it in the freezer, we slice it and apply salt in it nicely,
Yeah.
and then we put it in the freezer.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so, yeah.
okay, that's it. Okay, maybe no problem. Okay, so we use that because it gives a good flavor. Also, it helps in the preservation. Okay, it helps in the preservation. Then comes sugar. Jams, jellies, murabbas, and squashes are the foods which use sugar as a preservative. Like in pickle and chutney, sugar is added to these foods not only for taste but also as a preservative. The proportion of sugar has to be correct to protect such foods from spoiling. Now, what does sugar does or how does sugar protects them? Sugar dissolves in the water in the food item. This results in less water being available for the growth of microorganisms. Hence, the food becomes safe. Okay, when the sugar is dissolved in the water, then microorganisms cannot grow in it. Okay? Thus, it stops or controls the growth of microorganisms in the food. Then there is acids. These are lemon juice, vinegar, and citric acid. You know that lemon juice, vinegar, citric acid are all acidic in nature. They are all acidic in nature. Vinegar is used to preserve onions and tomato ketchup. Lemon juice is used
Hello.
in pickles. Yes. Then citric acid is used in spices. Acids increase the acidic content of the food items, thus preventing the growth and activity of microorganisms. So you have to learn this, okay? That how these preservatives, like what these preservatives do, that helps in preservation, or that helps in the that helps in stopping the growth of microorganisms. What they actually do, what is their role? Okay, so you have to remember this. Then comes oils and spices. Now, These are used as preservatives in pickles. Okay. Oils and spices. Now, which spices are commonly used as preservatives? Mustard powder, turmeric, and red chili are a few of them. Okay. So, my grandma visited recently. My grandma's sister, her younger sister, that is also my grandma, visited recently, and she was telling my grandmother that I just like I kept the lemon pickle for preservation. I just cut the lemons and put salt, yellow, red chili and turmeric powder in them, and then I stored them and came. So when I will go back, I will make a pickle out of it. So she did this. She did what? She took lemons, cut them. She added the red chili and turmeric and then salt in them, and she stored them. And then came here. She stayed here. She stayed with us for a couple of weeks. So what did that do? The adding spices, preservation. Okay, she preserved them, and then she came here. And then when she went back, she made a pickle out of it. Okay, that is what preservation. So in this way, spices also helps in preservation of food materials. They prevent the growth of microorganisms, preventing the spoilage. When pickle is made at home, have you observed that oil is poured to cover the mango, lemon, or other vegetables which are being pickled? The oil makes a protective covering and has two advantages. Now, why do we add so much of oil in the pickle? What happened once, let me tell you, we um, made a pickle. Okay. We made a pickle. I need space to draw. Yes. So we made a pickle, and suppose this is a pickle jar. Okay. This is a pickle jar. Okay. In which the pickle was stored. Okay. It was some half a bottle pickle. Okay. Some half a bottle pickle was there in the bottle. Okay. And do you know that pickles should be submerged in oil completely? Pickles should be submerged in oil completely. What happened with this pickle? Let me tell you. So since we were all consuming the pickle, let's make the oil of this color. This happened that the oil quantity became this much. Oil quantity became this much. Can you see? So the pickle was not completely submerged. Now, what happened with this? What happened was that the remaining pickle that was left uncovered, this portion that was left without the oil covering, it got molded. After some time, we just stopped eating it, and then the oil was less, and we didn't notice. So the upper portion that was outside the oil became molded. Why so? Because what was preserving the pickle? Oil. So you always you can notice in pickle when our mothers make pickle and when we buy store bought pickles, when we buy them, they are completely submerged in oil. Completely. If some portion of it is left unsubmerged or above the oil layer, then it will get molded. Okay. This is how preservation works. Oil preservation. It gives that food a layer. Okay. It gives that food a layer, a protective layer. Okay. It prevents the contact of microorganisms with the food. Hence, they cannot be spoiled. And it prevents contact of air with food. Hence, the microorganisms cannot grow and spoil the food. Fungus, fungi, molds, all of them will grow if the food does not have the layer of oil. Okay, so this is an important question. Okay, this is an important question that what is the role of oil and or what is the role of the protective covering of oil in food preservation? Okay, then you have learned about some of the common methods of food preservation. Generally, a combination of the principles of preservation is used. For example, combination of preservation materials is used. Means that in pickles, you use large amount of salt, spices, and oil. Okay. In the same way, acids and a lot of sugar is used for making squashes. Thus, when the seasonal fruits and vegetables are available at a lesser price, they can be stored for future use and add variety to our meals. Okay. Now, this is a process of making a jam and a squash. Okay, how to make a jam and how to make a squash. We'll go over it. Okay, and when you have breaks, when you can find time, if you want, you can try this out. Try making this out at home. Okay, you can take a help with of an adult, your mama, somebody at home, an elder person to make apple jam or squash. How to make apple jam? Honestly, I don't know myself, so I will be learning through this too. Okay, when I have not made an apple jam before. So, what are the ingredients? We have 1 kg of apples, then 750 grams of sugar, citric acid 1 teaspoon, and water 150 ml. Now, select firm apples and wash them thoroughly. First, you have to choose good apples, okay, without any marks, without any decomposing portions. You have to select good firm apples and wash them. Then you cut them into small pieces. Now, while we are cutting, we remove the core and the hard seeds. When we eat an apple, there's a center part, right, in which seeds are there. A center part is there inside the apple, which we cover, which we remove with the knife, and then we eat the remaining, right? Along with the seed, we remove that core, center part of the apple. So we remove that, we remove the seeds, then we cook the water till apple pieces are tender. You can also pressure cook them for 2 minutes. We cook them till they are tender, means soft, little bit more softer. Then sieve the pulp carefully. It will become very soft, somewhat pulpy. You sieve it, add sugar, stir constantly, and add citric acid. Now, in the we will sieve it, and in the portion we'll add sugar and add citric acid, and then we will cook till the mixture obtains a thick consistency, and do the plate test. I don't know what's a plate test. Okay, we pour it down. We pour it down. Okay, if it is very thin,
Hello?
it will pour down straight, drip down. If it is slurpy, it will pour down like this.
Hello?
Okay. If it is gel like, then it will pour like this. First, it will pour some and some and some. It will form a thread like thing and pour some. You know, when we pour out a gel, how it
Hello?
gets poured. Hello. Yes,
Sorry.
Samir.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't audible. What does sieve mean, ma'am? Like to sieve the
Sieving. Sieving means filtering. You know how we filter the tea
yeah,
leaves when
yeah.
that is sieving.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So thin, slurpy, gel like. It should be gel like. It should fall. Like when a gel falls, thread like, okay, somewhat thick in texture. So it should be like that. That is a plate test. Okay, I didn't know it was called a plate test. Then to check the consistency of the jam is gel like. Pour hot jam into white mouth sterilized bottles and cool. How do you sterilize a bottle? We open the lid, we remove the container, we put them in water, and we boil the bottles. Okay, that is how we sterilize them. Okay, so then and cool. We pour. If not sterilized, you can nicely wash the bottles. Okay, glass bottle or something. You can wash them nicely inside, outside. Then put it to dry. Put it for drying, and then use it for pouring out the jam. Then store it in a cool place. So then we will have um, the jam. Test for doneness. Drop jam in ice cold water. If, okay, this is after you have frozen it. Okay, there is a test for doneness. That is, you have seen the, if you've seen the texture of jam, it is like solid, like jelly like, but still solid. Yes. So we need to test if it is proper, if it has solidified enough or not. So we put it in ice cold water. If it disperses like that, then you need to freeze it more. But if it is solid, then means the jam is ready. Okay. If it disperses, then you need to cool it further. Okay. Then there is use of chemical preservatives. Orange squash recipe is there using chemical preservatives. That is potassium metabisulfate is used here. Okay. We will do orange squash recipe tomorrow. Okay, we will stop here for today. Orange squash recipe we will do tomorrow, and we will complete the rest of the remaining method of preservation. Okay, that's all for today. Revise this, make small notes. Okay, prepare for the test, upcoming test, and I'll see you all tomorrow. English class today.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye bye,
bye.
ma'am.
Goodbye.
See you.
Bye. See you.